please.
Yes. All right. Mark Landis.
Present.
Bill Burns.
Here.
Dave Halper.
Here.
David Lewis.
Here.
Gary Livingston.
Here.
Scott Oxner.
Here.
Frank is currently absent, hopefully joining us soon. Gary Severson.
I'm here.
Lynn Stafford.
Here.
Robert Stiglich.
Here.
Aaron Voca.
Here.
Holly Cap.
Here.
Great. And Stacy Penn let me know that she would be absent. So thank you all for joining us. This is awesome attendance. And it looks like I can see everyone on camera. So that is also excellent. That's important for the commissioners to be on camera. As I mentioned before, we are live this evening on YouTube and local cable channel. And we're also, this will be available on YouTube after the fact as well for reviewing. So Mark, if you'd like to take it away and we can do some introductions for the new members, that would be great.
Yep. I would, I'll just say it on behalf of the EDC. I'm glad that Gary Severson, Lynn Stafford, Aaron Voca stepped forward to be part of our team. And what we'd like to go and do is just have each of you just spend a moment or two and just give us an introduction and why you wanted to go and be part of the EDC. So whoever wants to start.
I'll go first.
Okay.
My name is, excuse me, my name is Erin Voca, and I moved to Oakdale in 2019. So pretty much during the pandemic, and wanted to be a part of the commission as I'm currently a HR manager for Paychecks, and really make those opportunities on a daily basis to reach out to community members as well as business owners, and pretty much what I do for a job. So that definitely thought it was an opportunity and wanted to be involved in Oakdale.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go next. My name is Lynn Stafford. My parents first brought me to Oakdale in 1968 when Hadley Avenue was Oakdale Drive, a 2-lane dirt road. I moved back here about 8 years ago. I'm an attorney. I have my own private practice from my home here, as well as contracting with law firms. And my background both in business prior to being an attorney and also having worked for the League of Minnesota Cities, I thought that the EDC would be a good fit and that I'd have a lot to contribute here. And hopefully I can do that and make it worthwhile. Thanks.
Great. Thank you. Gary?
Okay, I'll jump in. Speaking of technical difficulties, I had my share, but I made it on time. So thank goodness. I'm Gary Severson. I've lived in Oakdale for 32 years, something like that. Raised my children here. I've seen this city grow from relatively small to the thriving community it is now. I'm interested in seeing that continue in the future for many reasons, but amongst them is I have 3 daughters. One of them lives in Oakdale now. One will be soon moving to Oakdale, I hope, and hopefully I'll have grandchildren being raised here. So I have an interest in seeing this community continue to thrive and grow. And that's one of the reasons why I'm interested in this commission. Career-wise, I've operated a couple of small businesses, but currently I work, interesting, Lynn, that you worked for the League of Minnesota Cities. I currently work for the Minnesota Counties Insurance Trust. We're a self-insured pool for 81 of the 88 Minnesota counties and about 400 county affiliated entities. I'm the underwriting manager for them. So that's a little bit about me.
Great. Thank you. We welcome you, all 3 of you, to the EDC, and you're willing to serve. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll move on.
Mark, if we could also, if you want to do the pledge now, that's perfect. We also could introduce the existing members to the new members.
Oh, we can go and do that if that's what you'd like. Mr. Stiglich.
Oh, Robert, you're muted. I'll ask you to unmute. There you go.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I've been a member of the EDC since the beginning, which goes back a few years, 20 years, something. Still here.
Lucky you.
Yep. David, go ahead.
I'm David. I earned my master's in public administration from Hamlin University. I focus on community engagement and getting people involved in the community and being involved where they live. And I figured if I wasn't part of it, I'd be a hypocrite telling everybody else they should do that and not doing it myself. So that's one of the main reasons here. I've helped start up several businesses with my father, and then also helped start up a restaurant with a friend. And now I moved states and I'm here in the state. My wife is originally from the Iron Range and decided to make Oakdale our home.
Good. Thank you. Holly.
Hi, everybody. I'm Holly Kep. I work for Apollo Heating and Air doing marketing and community relations. I'm currently the interim vice president of the Oakdale Area Chamber of Commerce also. So welcome all the new members and hi to everybody else.
Mr. Burns.
I am Bill Burns, about 35 years here in Oakdale. Worked with and still work with a few nonprofit organizations here in the city. Presently, I have my own insurance agency here in Oakdale, and look forward to everything that Oakdale is going to be bringing in the next 25 years. After that, I'll be retired somewhere and won't care.
You'll be on your boat.
Right. Boats, more than one.
Yeah. Dave.
I'm Dave Helper. I've lived in Oakdale probably about 15 years. I started a online counseling clinic. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. My office was in White Bear, but since the pandemic, I haven't been there. And I guess I'm going to shut down that office, and I'll be doing all my work from my office in my home in Oakdale.
Okay, so. Good. Scott.
I'm Scott Oxner. I've lived in Oakdale since 2008. I want to get involved with the EDC just to be a bigger part of the community, kind of get involved and see what's happening. I work in sales and marketing for a company that's actually based in Wisconsin. So I work from home all the time. So the only thing with the pandemic for the last year has been my wife and everybody else has been at home too. So normally I'm alone. It's been a little crowded in my office lately. Welcome.
No, that's good. Gary.
Yeah, I'm Gary Livingston. We've lived in Oakdale for 35 years. Absolutely love it here. I'm a retired financial planner. I was in the business for 47 years, and we ran our agency in Eagan for 25 years. I just want to get more involved with the community. I'm really glad I'm here.
Thank you. Colleen, do you have anything to say?
I just want to welcome the new members. I'm Colleen Swedberg. I'm City Council Liaison for the EDC here. And nice to have a full crew. So it's nice to see everyone. So anyway, I've lived in Oakdale for over 9 years. So I love it here and look forward to working with all of you guys to progress Oakdale.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. So my name is Mark Landis, and I've been involved with the city for a long time, let's just say it that way, and passionate about, economic development and the growth of the city. So I really and truly appreciate everyone that's on this right now to give their time for the benefit of the city. And I think we've got a lot of great things coming up. And we just need everybody to bond together and understand what the long-term mission is. And so thank you for your service. That's all I can say. So with that, Linnea, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Burns, you can start.
Aye.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty
and justice for all.
For all.
Thank you. Okay, we need to move on to the approval of minutes from the February 3rd meeting. So do I get a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll
I
second.
second the motion.
Okay, thank you. And then we need to approve the minutes of March 3rd.
And Mark, I'll do a roll call vote
Okay,
since we're in a virtual meeting. Okay, approving the minutes as presented. Mark Landis,
yes, aye.
Bill Burns,
Aye.
Dave Halper,
Aye.
David Lewis,
Aye.
Gary Livingston,
I approve.
Scott Oxner,
Aye.
Gary Severson,
I abstain.
Lynn Stafford,
Abstain.
Robert Stiglich,
Aye.
Aaron Voka,
Abstain.
and Holly, since you are a non-voting member, I will not be calling on you during the roll call votes.
No problem.
And that's why we have February's minutes on the agenda again. Last time.
Okay, so
We're
then
just
let's
sort of-
move on to the March 3rd approval of minutes.
We need a motion and a second.
I make a motion for the approval.
Second.
Who seconded? Excuse me.
David.
David. Thank you. Okay, Mark Landis,
Aye.
Bill Burns,
Aye.
Dave Halper,
Aye.
David Lewis,
Aye.
Gary Livingston.
Aye.
Scott Oxner,
Aye.
Gary Severson,
Abstain.
Lynn Stafford,
Abstain.
Robert Stiglich,
Aye.
Aaron Voka.
Abstain.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to management reports. So new business, there was nothing for old business. So Linnea, you can take that.
First, let's hear from Councilmember Swedberg for any council liaison updates.
Well, I already welcome the new members. The only other thing I have, and Bob and Linnea know more than I do on this, but the Helmo Station developments are going forward. We've got some new possibilities, so that's I'm excited about that. And then the Willowbrook also is moving along. So we've got so much exciting things going on. This is a great commission to be on right now. So I'm excited to be here. So thank you.
Yep, thank you. Do you want to go and do an update, Linnea, on the COVID recovery business?
Yes. Yep. And I'll just keep this brief. I provided a more detailed memo in your packet, but I'll just give you the highlights. This memo was providing the latest data that's available for the Paycheck Protection Program, the county's program, and city loans. And that this update was helpful in that there's new information available so that we could see very detailed what the name of the business, what programs they accessed, and how much assistance they were able to get.
Yeah.
So that was provided as an attachment to the memo. It's just the detailed list of all the businesses that got assistance. So the summary is that at least 384 loans or grants were made to Oakdale businesses since the pandemic began, and those totaled over $69 million in assistance to Oakdale businesses. So that's very positive. Most of that money came through the PPP program. About 30% of Oakdale businesses got assistance through PPP. That program was run through the Small Business Administration, the SBA. And the SBA provided loan data in sort of two categories. They call them small loans. Those were under $150,000 to a business, or a large loan, and those were amounts over $150,000. So there were 127 small PPP loans made to Oakdale businesses. And the top industries represented in that amount of loans was the healthcare services and also professional, scientific, and technical services. And then for the large loans, large PPP loans, there were 98 of those. And those are the over 150,000 per business. The top industries represented there were food services and drinking places. And then again, professional, scientific, and technical. So no big surprises there, but just interesting to note where most of those loans went as far as industry-wide. So that, unless there's any questions, that's all I have for that topic.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the presentation on economic growth and housing needs.
Great.
I think, Bob, you're going to be doing most of that, or?
That'll be me tonight.
Okay.
Bob will contribute.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Okay. And can everyone see a PowerPoint slide that says economic growth and housing needs?
Yes.
Excellent. Good deal. Okay, so let's get started. So tonight, I want to talk to you about the connection between local economic development and the availability of housing that's affordable for workers. For an existing Oakdale business to add jobs, or for a business to locate in Oakdale, we know they need access to labor. And over the next few years, Oakdale is likely to add a significant amount of commercial and industrial space, which is going to generate the need for more labor. And ensuring this successful growth in jobs is going to require that labor has access to housing that's affordable based on the wages that are paid by those new and expanding businesses. So tonight I'm going to focus my presentation specifically on needs in Oakdale, but you should also know that this is a region-wide issue for the Twin Cities and in many other communities across the nation as well. Before we go too far, let's have a pop quiz. If you have a piece of scratch paper next to you, go ahead and write your answer down. We'll go over the correct answers at the end of each slide. I just got 2 slides, 6 questions. Bragging rights to whoever gets the most right. This is just a test of your trivia knowledge about jobs and housing in Oakdale. So our first question, by 2030, Oakdale is expected to add approximately how many jobs? Is it 1,800, 850, or 3,400?
Can I guess?
No, you can't guess, Bob. Okay, question 2. What is the approximate monthly payment for a median price Oakdale home? This is the monthly payment. Is it $1,526, $1,618, or $1,289? And question 3, what is the monthly market rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in Oakdale? Is it $1,502, $971, or $1,214? Okay. I'll give you the answers unless anyone needs more time. Okay, question 1. The correct answer is A. Oakdale is expected to add approximately 1,800 jobs. I see Councilmember Slipper. Good work. Okay, question number 2. Monthly payment for a median priced Oakdale home is, the answer is B, $1,618. And
Another one.
Oh, excellent. Question 3, monthly market rent for a 2-bedroom apartment is C, $1,214.
I didn't get that one.
Yay, 100%.
That's okay.
Well, I got it.
I get bragging rights. I got none of them right. So.
All right. Well, okay.
Nothing to brag about.
100%.
Good deal. All right. Second set of questions. Question 4. What is the standard measure of whether your housing is affordable? Is it A, costs no more than 30% of gross income? B, costs less than 50% of gross income? Or C, costs no more than 20% of gross income? Question 5, what percent of Oakdale jobs pay an average wage that can afford the median priced home?
Can you say the answers? I can't see your screen.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. A, 63%, B, 71%, or C, 47%. And question 6, what percent of Oakdale jobs pay an average wage that can afford rent for a 2-bedroom apartment? Is it A, 92%, B, 71%, or C, 84%? Okay, answer time. Question 4, the answer is A, costs no more than 30% of gross income. Question 5, percent of Oakdale jobs paying an average wage that can afford the median priced home, 47%. And question 6, jobs with wages, average wages to afford a rent for a 2-bedroom apartment is B, 71%.
I got 3 out of 3.
I got 3 out of 3.
Okay, so how many people got all 6 questions right? I can see you all. Let's see how many hands are raised. Lots of hands. Good for you. Okay, that's excellent. You all get bragging rights for your excellent knowledge of housing trivia. We'll move on now. Thanks for playing along with that. We can continue now talking about the connection between economic growth and housing needs. So successful local economic development depends on workers having access to homes they can afford. Because in order to locate or remain and expand in Oakdale, the businesses here need access to labor. And for that labor to be accessible, workers need to be located in Oakdale or be located within a reasonable commuting distance from Oakdale. And that means that the wages our businesses pay have to permit the worker to purchase or rent housing that they can afford within a reasonable distance of that job. If a community like Oakdale doesn't have homes that match the wages of local jobs, the consequence is that businesses can't locate or remain and grow in Oakdale. They can't get access to the labor that they need to do that. So, and this issue, like I said, it is larger than Oakdale as well. There's similar dynamics across the Twin Cities and in regions across the nation. But communities that meet demand for homes that are affordable on the wages that people working there are paid, those communities have a competitive advantage over others. And that advantage is to the benefit of local employers competing for labor. And I'll give you just a quick example of that dynamic from a real Oakdale business story. So TPC, or Telemetry Process Controls, which is a panel building business. They're located in Oakdale near the 694-94 interchange. They've had a hard time finding panel builders, so a specific type of skilled labor that to enable them to expand. They have a lot of demand for their product, but they're having trouble getting workers to pump out more product. And TPC found that they were competing for workers that were living in the northwest suburbs like Brooklyn Park, and they couldn't attract skilled work labor to travel this far for the wages they could offer. And so TPC had to work harder to build their own training programs and do a lot of labor recruitment, and it was slowing down their ability to grow as a company. It's just one example. So before we go too much farther, I want to just back up and make sure that we talk about what do we mean by affordable? Because what's affordable depends on the wages that you paid. So housing affordability in the United States, measured in terms of housing cost as a percentage of your household income. And homes are considered affordable when the annual cost doesn't exceed 30% of your annual household income. Many of you knew that in the quiz. Good job. And so when people can't find housing that fits their income, they're they experience what's called housing cost burden. And that means that they have to make trade-offs between paying for housing and their other necessities like food, clothing, transportation, healthcare, etc. And that housing cost burden, it also reduces the amount of money that they can spend on other goods and services. So in effect, it's reducing the overall circulation of wealth in the local economy. And so if local housing prices are more than can be afforded on the wages that are paid in your local jobs, those workers will try to live somewhere else that's more affordable, which means there's fewer workers available for jobs in Oakdale. And what I want you to know is that there's many Oakdale workers that are not paid enough to affordably purchase or rent a home in Oakdale. So in 11 of the 32 industry sectors that make up the Oakdale economy, an employee being paid the average wage can't afford to own or rent a home in Oakdale. And those 11 industries provide about 20% of the jobs in Oakdale. So this chart, this graph, this table has a lot of information, and I will try and break it down for you and walk you through it. So on the left, you will see the Oakdale industry sectors by name. There's 32 of them there. And for each industry sector, we know the average annual income, and they're listed in order from largest to smallest income. And the next column to the right of income is a translation of what would be an affordable housing cost monthly for someone making that wage, that annual average income. And then when we get into the colored columns where we've got green and this reddish orange, this is where we're comparing wages and to the actual cost to rent. And then a little further over to the right to purchase a home in Oakdale. So where I'd like you to focus your attention down at the bottom, where we see a lot of the orangey red going across, those are those 11 industries where the average wages there do not support the rent, do not affordably support the rent for a 1-bedroom apartment in Oakdale, which market rent for that is $971. In the quiz, we learned 2-bedroom market rent is $1,214. So you can see that down at the bottom, those industries, workers there would be paying 40, 50, 60, sometimes more % of their income just towards their housing costs. And so those people are going to be housing cost burdened trying to get into housing in Oakdale. So now that we understand a little bit more about how our local wages compare to the local housing costs, it's important, you need to know that demand for housing that's affordable to workers is expected to increase in the next 2 to 10 years. We're expecting significant increases in employment with new industrial office developments at the Forefront Technology and Office Campus, which is pictured down here on the left. The Regan property, the Schreier property, and Helmo Station, those are all places that for those commissioners who saw the State of the City presentation that Bob and I gave back in March to the commission, you'll remember that those are all properties that we think will be adding about 1.3 million square feet of new employment space in Oakdale, and that's coming this decade and sooner rather than later. And those that new space could add up to 1,800 new jobs in Oakdale, and that's an 18% increase over what we've got right now. And those increases in employment drive demand for new homes. That's a big driver for new home need. And we also anticipate, like we talked about in March, a lot of opportunities for residential development in the same time frame. There'll be a variety of types of homes planned at the Willowbrook neighborhood, Helmo Station, Greenway Station, and potentially even Tanner's Lakes. So those are all places where we can look to see a variety of new housing types and price points to hopefully meet these demands for the future. And so because an increase in the supply of homes affordable to workers is necessary to meet the coming demand. I just want to talk about how this is a regional challenge, and it's something that over the next decade, the region is expected to need 37,400 more homes that are affordable to workers that are paid in those lower wage industries. And Oakdale's share of that growth necessitates at least an additional 791 new homes that are affordable to those workers. And these are numbers that were put together by the Regional Planning Agency, who does a fairly detailed population and employment projections. And you'll see, for those of you that had time to look through the chapters from the comprehensive plan that I included in the packet, this 791 number is stated right in the comprehensive plan. That's what we're our goal we're shooting for to accommodate the new households that will come to Oakdale and hopefully work in Oakdale. And so the city can take actions that will help ensure that Oakdale has those homes for workers and that will support this continued economic growth. We have a lot of tools that we can use in this effort, and they are primarily land use controls, local financing tools, and we also can sponsor applications to other funders on behalf of developers. So as far as land use controls, the city can make sure that we have enough land that's guided and zoned to support the development of affordable homes. A big way to do that is allowing more homes to be built on certain parcels of land. That reduces the overall cost of producing those homes, whether they're single family homes or apartments. The city can also provide financing as well to assist the developer. And that can be accessing other public funding sources in addition to the cities. It could be federal, state, regional, and local funding sources. However, it's important for you to know that the amount of funding that's available from those outside sources is only from now expected to be available now until 2030, so the timeframe that we're talking about here. It's only expected to support about 45% of the forecasted need for new affordable homes. So additional sources of funding outside of state and federal, county, additional sources of fundings and or cost savings are going to be necessary in order to meet demand. So the city's financial tools specifically that can help cover the cost of providing homes at a below market price, those tools include tax increment financing, or TIF, which is a commonly used tool to provide a limited time stream of funding for a specific goal like affordable housing. We also have a tool called tax abatement, which can reduce operating costs for a limited time for developers or property managers in order to achieve a specific goal like affordable homes. And then, like I said, the city can sponsor applications to the Met Council for their livable community grants, to Minnesota Housing, which is the state housing finance agency, through their consolidated RFP program. And then there's also community development block grants from Washington County that we can help sponsor as well. So in summary, I want you to take away from this that investing in the development of more affordable homes is an investment in economic growth. Successful economic development relies on access to labor, and access to labor depends on having homes that are affordable based on the wages people are paid here. So many jobs in Oakdale don't pay enough to afford market price rents or home prices. And as employment needs grow in Oakdale over the next 2 to 10 years, more homes will be needed at prices that match local wages. And the city can use a variety of tools to ensure that the development of housing supports our economic growth. So for those of you who are interested in learning more about this, I included a lot of reading for you in your packet. And I would also specifically point you to the Oakdale Comprehensive Plan. There's the land use chapter as well as housing and economic development chapters that you can learn more about what is needed and the plans for Oakdale going forward. So with that, I'd love to answer questions you might have or just have some discussion about this information.
Anybody have questions for Linnea?
Yeah, this is Gary. I have a question for Linnea. Just that graphic that you showed that showed data from various industries and their pay relative to affordability.
Yeah.
Where did that data come from?
Yes, great question. So the industries and their wages, that comes from the quarterly census of employment and wages. So, and access that through Minnesota DEED, the Department of Economic Development, and excuse me, and then the rent data comes from HUD, which is the Federal Housing Agency, about what is a fair market rent in our specific locality. And then information about the monthly cost of homes, that's based on average market values from the county for those properties, and then working out mortgage for 30 years at 3% interest with so much down payment gets you to that price.
Okay, thank you. So you pulled that data together from various sources then?
Yes, to compare wages with cost of housing.
Great, thank you.
Gary
else with a
Livingston.
question?
Yeah, Gary Livingston question. Okay, the question deals with actually two parts. Number one, the Willowbrook. You know, we live nearby it. It looks like they're mining there or whatever. It's unbelievable. Anyway, so first of all, they're going to build homes that are starting this year. Second of all, will they be affordable to this group that you're talking about?
Willowbrook is planned to have somewhat of a mix of housing. It's primarily single family homes, but there are some areas for townhomes as well as multifamily, like apartment buildings. The single family homes that we've seen proposals for so far will not be at prices that would be affordable to many of the lower wage workers in Oakdale. They'll be a little bit higher priced homes.
Yeah, and Linnea, just let me add, right now there's no planned affordable housing for Willowbrook. The Lennar homes will be somewhere between $285 and $500. And the rents there are going to be higher than you see here because new construction rents typically are a little higher than existing rents because you're getting a brand new product and people are willing to pay a premium. So there's no affordable housing at Willowbrook at this point. There could be, but not at this point.
Is that because so far the plans that they've kind of put forth, they don't include that? It doesn't mean that at some point when they start planning some of maybe the other parts that those might include those?
Yeah, the private sector builds the housing. It's the public sector that makes it affordable. So any developer could come there, whether they're the single family builder, the townhome builder, or the multifamily builder, and they could approach the city, the Washington County HRA, Minnesota Housing Finance Agency, and the Metro Council seeking public participation to make the units affordable. So they have that option, but the city does not have a requirement on the land that there be affordable housing.
Anybody else have a question?
I do wonder from the income side, do things like when they start talking about raising minimum wage, those obviously impact this, maybe adjusting some of the orange and green? That just kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah, that's a complex question because if wages go up, typically then prices will go up too. I mean, somebody making $15 an hour, that's a little over $30,000 a year. And you can see on Linnea's chart that building material, garden and equipment and supply dealers, that's the Menards and Fleet Farm, that's at $29,640. So they wouldn't be able to live in Oakdale. And want to emphasize something that Linnea brought up, made it very clear that 94% of the people who work in Oakdale don't live in Oakdale. Okay, so Linnea's point about labor shortages and businesses having difficulty finding labor. Yeah, and this is not uncommon for second ring suburbs, but and most people who live in Oakdale don't work in Oakdale. They leave to go to Woodbury, Maplewood, Minneapolis, Stillwater.
Good point. Anybody else have questions?
Yeah, Gary Severson, I have another question for Linnea. The average annual income you show on your chart, is that per individual or is that household?
That's an individual.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I have a question. If you were to make a mandate, like a citywide mandate to make a percentage of future housing projects like this, how much of an effect would that have? Is there any study of how much of an effect that would have on attractiveness or being able to get companies willing to invest in Oakdale?
Linnea, you want to start?
I'm not aware of a study that would match exactly what you're looking for, David.
So
Bob, are you?
So, you know, if there was housing for potential employees at these businesses that was affordable, that was going to make Oakdale and any city more competitive. In greater Minnesota, for example, they have a tremendous amount of difficulty attracting new industry because there's no affordable housing. And they're not, you know, so which comes first, the chicken or the egg? But the cities typically can have a significant role in addressing this particular issue, as Linnea pointed out, through land use policy and through participating financially or acting as fiduciaries for other funders. And Oakdale's done that in the past. So this is going to become more and more of an issue for all suburbs. It's been an issue since probably 1995, and it's only gotten worse since that time. It's not gotten better. The region's fallen farther and farther behind.
Hey, Linnea or Bob, I've got a question for you. With your statistic on 94% of the people that live in Oakdale don't work in Oakdale, it has not caught up to the COVID of where you're working from home now. How long do you think of a lag that's going to take to actually get a true statistic on how many people are now working from home?
Yeah, I don't know if that data, I don't know if folks have been gathering that data. It may be a little too early. But most of the businesses in Linnea's chart, you can see are service businesses. It's a person-to-person type of operation. You're either at Fleet Farm or Menards or you're not. It probably doesn't lend itself to working from home as much as some of the other industry sectors, but we'll watch for that. And if something comes out, we can certainly share that.
That has been a topic. I often share the Minnesota Economic Trends publication with the commission. And that is something that I've seen in their articles, that they've done some recent comparisons as far as, you know, pre-pandemic, how many people were working from home and how many have been during the pandemic. But I mean, we don't know post-pandemic what the situation will be there.
You've got so many, it's a different model now. You've got a 3M based company or whoever, you know, maybe even that business that's located in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and the guy's working from home now. So,
right. Yeah. For those businesses that aren't the person to person, that could have an impact there. But to Bob's point, most of the industries listed here are really the person to person interaction. So if it's retail stores, if it's healthcare services, if it's restaurants, those are major employing industries in Oakdale, and those are things that have to be done in person, a lot of them.
I don't have a question, but I'd like to make a comment about the affordable housing costs on this chart. Right now at Briar Pond Apartments, where I live, a one-bedroom apartment is $919 a month. And Briar Pond is subsidized by the Washington County HRA. You can only live here as a single person if you make $65,000 or less per year. The average regular market rate for an apartment in the Twin Cities without any county subsidies is closer to $1,200. So I'm thinking if you're looking towards drawing more technical career, blue collar type careers, that maybe we need to revisit looking at more subsidized housing, or even making people aware of it. Because when I try to tell people how the Washington County HRA, funds this apartment building, it's something people aren't aware of, so they don't know that something more affordable actually exists here too. So
That's a good point. Thank you.
Any other questions? No further questions, and let's move on to commissioner updates. So just go around the room if somebody's got anything they want to go and update. And Mr. Stiglich, you want to start, or? Yeah, Bob, if you want to say anything.
I'm trying to get there we go. Well, as far as my business goes, there's a lot of activity with our upturn in activity for people looking for new space. So that's a good thing, good sign.
Good. David?
No comment.
Scott?
No update right now.
Okay. Lynn? Okay. Aaron?
Nothing.
Okay. Gary?
No updates.
Mr. Burns?
Oh, hell
You usually
yeah.
have something to say.
Absolutely. Next Tuesday morning, actually at 11 o'clock, the Christian Covered Emergency Food Shelf, which is one of the most successful businesses in Oakdale, has got where they're doing a grand opening, a ribbon cutting of their new satellite over on the north end of Oakdale. And if you go into their website, or Lene, I'll give you an attachment if you don't have it already for that ribbon cutting. But it's designed by one of the people who worked there, who was in Australia and saw this model and thought that it would work over here in the United States. So it's one of the few in the United States as far as being a satellite. And it's designed for people to come in and be able to shop and get out of there in 5 to 10 minutes with bread, milk, just the staples. And I think it's going to be a great success for the city of Oakdale to be on the cutting edge of that kind of thing. So,
Good.
Yeah, it's great news for them. So, and I think Holly will probably talk a little bit about our general meeting tomorrow.
Good. Thank you.
Yep.
Gary?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Okay. Holly?
Yes, just tomorrow we'll be at Oak Marsh, 11:15 to start networking. Meeting starts promptly at 11:30. Our speaker is Chris Swanson, who is the mayor of Two Harbors. He's also a business entrepreneur, multiple businesses. So he'll have some great topics. I do have my food count ready for tomorrow, but I could spare a few people if somebody wanted to join in. Okay?
Yeah. Good. Thank you very much. Dave?
Nothing to report. I was just, is the city going to be represented at the ribbon cutting?
Yes.
Yes, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. Colleen, do you have anything?
Oh, just in case no one brings it up, we have that meeting May 18th at the Discovery Center, the commission meeting. So just want to remind everyone it's at the Discovery Center in person.
Yep. That's at 5 o'clock for everybody.
Yep.
5 to 5:30 for those that want to attend.
Yep.
And all it is, it's just a meet and greet, see what's on your mind, and kind of go from there.
Yep.
Mr. Streeter?
I'm doing a Bob Stiglitz. It must be the Bob. We don't know how to work the mute button. Just a couple of things, and if I cut out early, so if Linnea mentioned this, stop me. But the Willowbrook development will start in full throttle after May 25th. The city council is going to review a master development agreement, which they've already looked at once. It's not changing much. It's just refinements. And then you'll have 2 Lennar outlots in the southeast corner, and then doing carriage homes and villa homes. We've updated the city's website with regard to Willowbrook. So if you want to know more detailed information, you can just click on there. Just go to the planning page and it'll say Willowbrook on the left side. And then Continental is doing a 280 rental townhome community, gated, really nice. And their planning application goes in May, probably to the council at the end of May, first part of June. So what you're going to see is 349 units of housing going full steam starting this summer. And what they've been telling me is that they want to be done by the end of next year. If not, they'll be done this summer of the following year. So it's going to go really quick. And then in 2022, in the spring, that 40th road that runs across there right now, it's a rural section, that's going to be torn up and that'll disappear. And the new 40th south of there that kind of goes like this, and it'll connect with Ideal Avenue the same time the county's updating Ideal Avenue. So there's going to be a whole lot of stuff going on up in that area. And then United Properties is representing or working on behalf of Slumberland, and they own the Forefront and Business Technology Campus, the old Imation building, and they want to start their 300,000 square feet this summer. So that whole area up there is going to be really busy. So I think that's enough for now. If you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to go and say thank you to Bob, Linnea, and their group. They've been working behind the scenes. Nobody knows what's really been going on, but there's going to be a lot of new things going on. And that's what we're all about with economic development, is inviting people in and producing good jobs and going from there. And I just want to go in again and say thank you to every one of you that are willing to serve on this committee, because without people that are dedicated, it wouldn't happen. And that's coming directly from my heart, but I thank every one of you. And let's just keep working together. And, it's going to be a good city, and we're going to keep growing and thriving. So with that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Landis? Wait a minute, Chair Landis?
Oh.
Can I just add one other thing?
Yeah.
We're going to be re-kicking off the citywide bike and pedestrian plan. So once people can meet together, we're going to, Linnea's going to have, at least invite me, at least I hope she will, to the EDC meeting. And you'll get to participate in the creation of the bike and pedestrian plan. And that first step is to identify gaps or barriers in the bike and pedestrian plan in the city. So we're going to try to hit the EDC, the Planning Commission, the EMC, before that first phase goes back to the city council. So look forward to that. So if you're an avid biker, this is your chance, or walker, to have an impact.
Yeah, thank you.
And
so
Bob,
again, I just want to go and say thank you to everybody for being part of this. And I really encourage people to ask questions or communicate with either Bob or Linnea, because that's what you're all about, is being part of this whole thing. Mr. Stiglitz, you look like you have something to say. Okay, with that, we are adjourning. Who made the motion?
Chair Landis, can I interrupt quickly?
Yeah.
Two things I just want to add. Councilmember Swedberg mentioned the joint meeting with the council on the 18th of May. Please make sure that you RSVP to Sue Berry and let her know if you're planning to attend. You can also, if you want to just tell me right now, I can let Sue know as well. I know many of you have RSVP'd, but if not, I know she's looking for a count by the 12th. So please do that. And then also, our next meeting is scheduled to be June 2nd. And I just wanted to get a sense from the commission. I've figured out a way that we can meet in the council chambers and be socially distanced and spaced. If you are comfortable meeting in person, we could do that for our June 2nd meeting. So,
Okay.
if there's general consensus about that, we can do that. If you have any concerns, you can also email me directly as well.
Okay. Thank you. So we do have a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you.
You guys.